Hey everybody out there, today for you guys we're going to be talking about the January 2020 ban list and my thoughts on this list, which is shooken up again the Yu-Gi-Oh game. With Master Rule 5 on the horizon, Konami has seemed to take in precautionary measures already. In addition to that, they've hit a lot of the meta, if not every single meta deck out there, and even tier 2 decks. Which is very interesting to say the least. But let's go over this. I can't do a reaction video because I was at work, and I want to just talk about my initial thoughts about this list. So first, let's go over the list, talk about the individual cards, and then we'll come back and talk about my overall thoughts on the list. So Forbidden List is pretty big. We have Orcust Harp Horror. They kind of hurt Orcust a lot with that hit. Orcust I feel like are still playable, but the banning of Orcust Harp Horror does hurt the list. They're going to be getting more support in the future, so they should be still good, but they do take a hit, and a pretty good hit at that, but they'll still be playable. Thunder Dragon Colossus. I played that deck for a year and a half, about a year and a half. I am not mad at it being banned because I got a lot of mileage out of that deck. I think Colossus in the future will come back to one of eventually, maybe a year or two from now. If Construct can eventually come back, and you've seen this with other extra deck boss monsters, Six Samurai Shein, Construct, this is going to happen again. Give it a year or two, and you're going to see this card come back. I promise you. But I think it'll take a while for it to go back to multiples. But yeah, I think it's going to come back eventually because there'll be some Thunder Dragon support that comes out in the future and Konami wants to promote it. You know how this goes. Yes, Thunder Dragon is already getting support, I think, in the next set, but I'm talking like a couple of years from now. The World Chalice, the World Chalice Justice. This kind of hurts. This hurts my soul because this card I thought was going to be played a lot more, like when we got into Master Rule, the new Master Rule, and I'm just like, they preemptively hit it for a reason. I think it's a very good card. It's very similar to Dang Long, but dang already you're hitting that card. Tempest Magician. This is understandable because of the freaking FTK that was caused by it, but I hadn't. Even when I was playing against Magician Pendulums recently, nobody's really pulling off the FTK. It happens sometimes, but not a lot. So okay, I understand why they hit it. Elder Entity Azathoth. That hit makes sense. That banning makes sense. Salamangreat Mirage Stalio. I'm not going to complain about that. Salamangreats will still be played. They just lose a power play. Sky Striker Mobilize Engage. Banned. That hurts my soul because I've played that deck. As you guys know, that's probably one of my favorite competitive decks in the last couple of years. But for Pete's sake, I played this deck for 2 years at multiple YCSs and events. I got the mileage out of the deck more than I ever thought I was ever going to get out of it. When I brought those engages back in the day for $80 when they came out, I think I bought them for $80 a piece. Did I get my mileage out of them? Heck to the yes, I did. Just sad to see this card go. Do I think it'll come back eventually to one of? Everything eventually comes back to one of. I think it will be, especially if it's archetype based. This card will probably come back to one of in the far future. Next we have Electromite. Heavy Metaphors Electromite. Why? I know the FTK is a thing. I've heard this. Magician Pendulums are very good. I get that. They're a good deck. But did you really have to hit Electromite? Did you really have to hurt all Pendulum decks really good? Because now, we were saying with the new Master Rule, okay, all decks are going to be good. Pendulums still have Electromite. They'll be good. Not broken, but good. Now they don't have that. Now they have to make basic link plays to go into multiple pendulums. Like, I feel bad. Do I think it will come back to 1 of eventually? Yes. Just not right now. And then we have Brilliant Fusion banned. Why did that need banning? Was there some? Were they afraid of Gym Knight FTK that bad? Like, nobody played it at 1 of. I played it as Tech and Tier 2 decks. Ooh. Like, are you afraid the Plant Engine is going to become super powerful? Okay. Limited. The True King Glithrosesm Disaster came from banned to limited. Cool. This is a card that people said was not going to come back. It came back because they limited later on, which we'll just mention now. Dragonic Diagram. I don't think you can play True Draco anymore. Maybe I missed the memo, but yes. If that stays like that, I bet you're going to see Masterpiece come back in the future, perhaps. A year from now. I mean, I don't know. Pot of Avarice. It's cool to see this card back, but it's not as good as it used to be. Dino Wrestler Pancreatops. This one makes me scratch my head. Like, why? Like, it's good in the side deck. Some people play in the main deck, but really, Konami? Like, are we trying to do like a Cyber Dragon thing? Because this is not Cyber Dragon like it was when it came out. Like, it's good. It's New Age Cyber Dragon. Is that why you feel like you need to hit it? Like, I'm very confused about this hit. I understand it, and then I'm like, kind of like, it feels like overkill. Servant of Endymion. I guess because the FTK, but still, like, really? You hit Electromite, is that and you hit Tempest Magician. Why do you need to hit this? This will come back eventually, I feel like. Card Demise. Now, if you guys remember, if I remember correctly, the OCG limited card Demise, and after about a year, they brought it back to 3 of. And it's currently at 3 of over there now. I have a feeling that card Demise, within a year or two, is going to go back to 3 of. That's just my thoughts. Not right now, but in the future. I feel it's kind of... I mean, there's only, besides True Draco and heavy trap decks, what's playing it? Tier 2 decks play it? I haven't, besides True Draco, which is Tier 1, I guess, but I don't know. It just seems like an odd hit right now. And then you have Dragonic Diagram, which we talked about. Into the Void, okay, because it's Upstart Goblin, I guess? Like, oh, okay? I guess. Sekka's Light. Why? Why did you need to hit Sekka's Light? This makes no sense. Like, okay, are we going to hit every card? This reminds me when they put Reckless Greed to 1 of because of this. Like, back in the day. Like, okay. Like, these cards, you have to play them in certain decks. It's not like Upstart Goblin where you can just chuck it in everything, which makes sense to me more days now. These can only be played in certain decks. If you're going to hit this, there's other cards out there that should be hit as well. But you're not hitting those too. I don't know. Red Reboot to 1. Konami just wants traps to be better, and I think they're trying to push that new spell quick play that's like a Regeki and Harpy's Feather Duster, whatever they've changed it in the OCG to. But that, I feel like that's what this is trying to do. They're trying to make deck, back row more prevalent so people pick up this card. I guess it seems very low, but I guess I get it. And Danger Nessie to 1 of. I felt like it was okay at 2 of. Why did you need to hit this? This seems a little excessive. Unlimited. Morphine Jar to 2. Morphine Jar 2 to Unlimited. Okay. Tribe Infecting Virus. Okay. People are saying, oh, it's going to be broken. No. Stop it. And don't tell me Mermails are going to be playing it. Bad. Bad Yu-Gi-Oh players. Bad. Shame. No, nobody's playing Tribe Infecting Virus in 2020. This card's should have come back years ago. We've been saying this for years. The Phantom Knights of Rusty Magic Launch. With Rusty Bardiche ban, this should be fine. And with, whatchamacallit, the XC's thing back, I guess you could say that's okay too. I'm going to go back to the semi-limiteds here in a second. I mean, Elder into the Azathoth being banned. This is okay to come back. Book of Moon to 3 of. I've been waiting years for this since Gravekeepers. Because I love Gravekeepers, but Gravekeepers don't need Book of Moons anymore, so cool. Solemn Warning to 3 of. I want to build counter fairies really bad right now, because Judgment's at 3, Strike's at 3, Warning's at 3. I want to play some counter fairies maybe. Soul Drain at 3 of. That seems like something I wasn't expecting, but I'll be okay with that anti-meta card. Dark Arm Dragon at 3 of. Konami approves of you having 3 dads now. I really want to build like a modern age, because we pretty much, besides what? Yeah, because we used to play back then Dark Refer at 1 of and Dark Arm Dragon at 1 of. You literally could rebuild Teledad now. I think you could. I think you actually can. Perform Palad's Damage Juggler. That actually makes me happy. There's a couple of decks I want to play that in the future. And I'm very happy to finally have that card eventually. I knew it was going to happen eventually, but I'm happy to see it now. Semi-Levitate. Deep Sea Diva to 2 of. That's cool. New archetype coming out. Fine. Tour Guide to 2 of. I think it's going to be very powerful, but I don't think it's going to be as good as people think. But I think it still will see a lot of play. Mind Control to 2 of. Okay. Cool. Like, I guess. And, I look at this list and people are just like, oh. And you can see where Konami's trying to push their future product. You can see where they're trying to get ready for the new Master Rule updates in April. Because if you look at the list, the next update happens the day before the new Master Rule takes effect. It says no sooner than March 30th, I think it is. And then the new Master Rule effects take effect April 1st. So you see what I'm trying to say here. And then at the same time you have dual power. I think the big set with all the links and all that crazy stuff, and Needle Fiber coming out like a week before the ban list is supposed to come out. You can see how Konami's playing this. It's plain as day what they're trying to do, and they're trying to push product. There's some other stuff that came out today too I want to talk about, but that's going to be a separate video, mainly talking about them cutting rares from core sets. That's a different topic. But back to the ban list. People are like really hyping this ban list up. I feel like it's needed to happen, these hitting these powerful decks. I think for the first time in a long time, if you pick these decks up when they came out, you pretty much got your mileage out of them. Like, you got a lot of more mileage than you should have out of a lot of these decks, being at full power or being competitively viable for a long period of time. And as somebody that has played over the last 2 years to a year and a half, Thunder Dragon, Sky Striker, and whatnot, I can honestly say that I'm not upset at all. Will I keep the decks? Yeah, I mean, there's no point in selling them if they're hit, because there's always a chance that new support will come out in the future. They won't be meta, but they'll probably get cards unbanned a couple years down the road, so it's might as well just keep them in my deck boxes. We'll keep them in a tin and just wait for the time to come out, because I love Sky Strikers and I love Thunder Dragons. I think they're really cool archetypes. I'm not gonna, I'm not mad that they've been hit. They'll probably come back eventually, just not be meta relevant, but be fun, playable decks, right? There's a lot of decks out there that happens to as time goes on. Six Samurais and Gravekeepers are perfect examples, and there's a multitude of other ones out there. But this list I don't think is as drastic as people think, and I think the one thing I want to also mention here is this list had to happen because of another thing. The fact that if you look at Konami's track record for the last year and a half, a lot of decks, more than usual, that have come out are not as powerful as the decks they created in the past. This has happened a few times in Yu-Gi-Oh's history, but not for this long extent of time. Like, people are hyping up the next set in Yu-Gi-Oh! Eternity Code, I think it is, which is coming out in May, saying it's one of the most hypest sets coming out in recent memory, one of the most popular, most anticipated sets of all time. I look at it and I say, there's a lot of good cards in there. There's a lot of good stuff in there. Master Rule 5 will be out when, the new Master Rule will be out when that comes out, but, like, it looks just like another pretty good set that has a lot of possibility to be very good. But, like, what I'm trying to say is the archetypes that Konami's created have not been very impactful recently. A lot of them haven't been. For how many ones are good, there's 5 bad ones or 3 bad ones. Just look at the sets, and it should tell you right there. Like if you look at them, and I'm happy with this list. I'm not upset with it. I think it's just something that needed to be done, taken care of. It's good. Doesn't affect me really. My deck building strategies. The only thing it really affects is freaking the way I was planning to do a deck profile for counter fairies. But even still, I could just switch things out now with warning going back to 3 of and just play around with some ratios of cards. It doesn't really hurt a lot of the decks I play. I mean, I do play meta decks. Yeah, it does hurt my Sky Striker and Thunder deck, but I was planning for that to happen. Like, that's why like I have this Photon Galaxy deck back here, like I've been working on, because I had that feeling that was going to happen. I was going to yank that back out, because I've played Sky Strikers and Thunder Dragons for a long period of time. I just haven't done deck profiles because it's meta decks, and you guys have seen enough of those, right? So yeah, I think it's something that needed to be done, taken care of. It's all good. Everything's good. We'll move on. I'm looking forward to, you know, it's going to be very interesting to see what tops. If you ask my initial opinions, I think Salamangreats will still be played to some capacity. I think Orchist will definitely be played to some capacity. I think they'll still be powerful, especially with future support. From what I've heard and from what I've seen, I think that Altergeist could definitely pop up. I think you'll also see some people start playing with Guru Control again, possibly. There's a lot of different possible decks that could step up, and I think you'll definitely see some random decks just pop out of the woodworks now, because other decks have been cut down to size and no longer are played. The chance for other decks that have come out in the past year could step up. They could rise up now, if you know what I'm trying to say, because the power gap is not as great as it was before, like I was talking about. So tell me your thoughts down below of this ban list, guys. Just want to talk about these cards getting a hit, my thoughts, and just my overall thoughts heading into the new meta. Till next time, guys, take care, have fun dueling, good luck dueling. I'll see all of you guys next time. I do apologize, I was very tired in this video. I was recording it at like 10:30 at night after work. Take care, everybody. Good luck dueling to all of you, and let's go into the new meta and the new year strong. Take care, everybody.